Eric Lensher, also known as Magneto. You and I both know you've had a rough journey. You've seen the worst of humanity, haven't you? I get it. You've got your reasons. But let's be honest here. Don't you think you've taken this whole control all metal and dominate humanity thing a bit too far? Look, I get it. You've been through unimaginable pain. Your childhood? Yeah, I saw it. Losing your family like that, in a place where evil reigned, where it seemed like God was silent. But I want to clear something up. I wasn't silent. I was there, Eric. Not in the way you might have expected, but I was there. And that pain you carry, it's shaped you. It's driven you to the edge, to the point where you've believed that the only way to survive is to be the strongest, to fight back by becoming the very thing you hated. But that's where you've missed something important. The strongest doesn't mean the most destructive, Eric. It's not about controlling everything with your power. The strongest are those who can lift others up. Those who don't need to crush their enemies, but can turn their enemies into allies. I know. You're thinking, but Jesus, they deserve it. Look what they've done to me, to my people, to mutants. And trust me, I understand your frustration. Believe me, I dealt with a lot of stubborn people myself. Pharisees, Romans, even some of my own disciples. Some of them were real pieces of work. But here's the thing. You don't make the world better by destroying it. You make it better by healing it. And that's where you and I differ, Eric. Let me ask you this. What are you really after? I've watched you for a long time, and I see a man who's trying to protecting those you love, those like you, mutants who've been misunderstood, feared, and hunted. But somewhere along the way, that protection turned into something darker. Revenge, control. And now, you've become the thing you once swore to fight against. Isn't that ironic? You're a freedom fighter who's now trying to rule over others. Look, I get the appeal of power. I mean, I literally have the power to walk on water, raise the dead, and turn a handful of fish into a feast for thousands. But here's the catch. Power is only good when it serves others, not when it serves yourself. The moment you start using power to prove a point or to make others fear you, that's when things go wrong. Trust me, I've seen it happen more times than I can count. Cain and Abel? That didn't end well for one of them, did it? Let's talk about forgiveness for a second. I know. One of your least favorite subjects. But humor me, Eric. You've been holding on to so much anger, so much resentment. And while that anger gives you energy, it also eats you up inside. It's like carrying a piece of molten metal in your chest, burning you slowly from the inside out. You think that anger fuels your cause, but really, it's only hurting you. The people who hurt you, they're living their lives, some of them oblivious to your suffering, while you're carrying this burden that's wearing you down. You want to know a secret? Forgiveness isn't about letting people off the hook. It's not saying what you did was okay. It's about releasing yourself from their grip. You see, when you don't forgive, you're the one who's trapped. You're shackled by the past, and it keeps pulling you down. But when you forgive, it's like unlocking those chains. You're free. That's why I said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They didn't know what they were doing to you, Eric. They were lost, too. Hurt people hurt people. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but what about justice, Jesus? What about standing up for what's right? And you're absolutely right. There's a time for justice. But justice and vengeance, they're two different things, my friend. Justice is about restoring balance. Vengeance? That's about inflicting pain. And you, Eric, have been living with vengeance for too long. It's time to let that go. I've got to give you credit, though. You've got charisma. You know how to rally people. You've got that natural leadership thing going for you. But here's where I think you've missed the mark. You're leading people through fear, not love. You've got mutants who follow you, but are they following you because they believe in a better world? Or are they following you because they're scared of what will happen if they don't? Real leaders don't rule by fear, Eric. They inspire others by lifting them up. You know who understood that? Charles, your old friend. I know you two have your differences, but deep down you know he's right. You've always known. Charles believed that mutants and humans could coexist. That's not a fantasy, Eric. That's hope. And hope is a powerful thing. It's not naive. It's necessary. It's what gives people the strength to keep going, even when the world seems dark. Remember that time in Egypt when I parted the Red Sea? No, wait. That was my father. But you get the idea. Even when everything seems hopeless, there's always a way forward if you're willing to look for it. And listen, you've made some big mistakes. We both know that. Genosha? That was rough. You had a chance to build a paradise for mutants, a place where they could live in peace. But then, it all fell apart. Why? Because it was built on the wrong foundation. You built it on control, on fear of the outside world, instead of on trust, compassion, and understanding. It could have been a place of healing, Eric, but you let your old wounds dictate your actions. But here's the good news. It's never too late to change. You're not stuck in this narrative. You can rewrite your story. The best part? You don't have to do it alone. I'm offering you a hand here, Eric. You don't have to carry all this weight by yourself. You've tried doing it your way, and it hasn't worked out the way you wanted, has it? How about trying something different? What if instead of fighting against humans, you showed them a better way? What if, instead of bending metal to your will, you bent your heart toward compassion? You've got this gift, this incredible power, and yeah, I'll admit it's pretty cool. Controlling metal? That's impressive, but you know what's even more powerful? Controlling yourself, choosing love over hate, mercy over judgment. You know that moment when I said, turn the other cheek? I wasn't telling people to be weak. I was telling them to be strong in a different way. Anyone can hit back when they're attacked, but it takes true strength to stand firm in love and say, I'm not going to let hate control me. You're not beyond redemption, Eric. No one is. Not you, not me, not anyone. It's never too late to turn things around. And I think deep down, you know that. Otherwise, why would you still be listening? You know, Eric, you remind me a little of Peter. Yeah, Peter, one of my disciples. The guy was tough, impulsive, had a bit of a temper. He even thought he could tell me what to do sometimes. And when things got hard, he denied me 3 times. 3 times! But here's the thing. Peter wasn't a bad guy. He was just scared, like you. Scared of losing control, of being vulnerable. You think that by holding on to all this anger, you're protecting yourself. But really, you're building walls that even your magnetic powers can't tear down. And those walls? They're isolating you from the very people who care about you. Charles? You pushed him away because you couldn't bear to hear the truth from someone who loved you. But deep down, you know Charles has always had your back. He's been trying to help you, not fight you. He just does it in a way that doesn't involve throwing tanks at people. I get why you're angry at the world, Eric. Trust me, I've seen plenty of injustice. But the world doesn't change by adding more destruction to it. It changes when people start healing their wounds. And that's the real battle, isn't it? Healing is harder than fighting. It's messy, painful, and takes a whole lot longer than ripping metal from the ground. But it's worth it. You want strength, Eric? Real strength? It's not in your abilities to manipulate metal. It's in your ability to forgive those who have wronged you. Yeah, I know that sounds like the exact opposite of what you've been doing. But hear me out. When you forgive someone, you're not weak. You're not letting them off the hook. You're telling them that they don't have the power to control your life anymore. You're free from their grip. Think about it. For all the power you have, for all the control you exert over the world around you, you're still being controlled by the people who hurt you. Their actions, their hatred, it's still living rent-free in your head, guiding your every move. And that's not the freedom you deserve, Eric. I know you're capable of more than this. I see it in you, even if you don't see it in yourself. Look at your past. You've always been a survivor. You've been through the fire and come out stronger. But survival isn't the same as living, Eric. And you, my friend, have been in survival mode for too long. You've forgotten how to live. I know it's hard. Trust me, I've been there. When I was carrying that cross, when they were mocking me, spitting on me, I had every reason to call down fire from heaven and end it right then and there. But I didn't. Not because I couldn't, but because I knew that real power isn't in destroying your enemies. It's in forgiving them. It's in showing them a better way, and that's what I'm asking you to do, Eric. Show the world a better way. Be the leader you were meant to be, not the one your pain has turned you into. It's not too late. It's never too late.